Alright, I think that's it, guys. Got everything loaded. The boat's ready. Gonna head back up to Lake Temiskaming area, the Ottawa River, and we're gonna camp out for the night. The plan is simple. Go up, do some fishing, do some exploring. There are some riverways that come into the Ottawa from up above, maybe 12, 13 kilometers up above Temiskaming itself. And I'd like to maybe drone those. There's some really nice waterfalls up there, show you guys some scenery, but also just check those little riverways. They kind of look like Amazon tributaries, if I'm honest. When I was a kid, that's what we always thought when we'd go in there fishing. It was almost like you were going down the Amazon. So we'll go check those out, check the muddy banks and shores there for footprints, tracks, anything. I don't know how many people. There could be lots of people going to these places. I don't know. But we're gonna drone it and we're gonna check it out and we're gonna get the trail cameras. Pretty rough up here. So my dad and brother were at camp fishing a couple weeks back, and I don't know if they left pails that they had cleaned fish and stuff, but there's some evidence of a bear rooting around. So I'm gonna just take a bit of protection up here. It's just some bird shot I got. Just more to make a noise than anything. You know, 9 times out of 10, I don't even need this gun. I'm just gonna yell, the bear's gonna run off. And 99 out of 100 times the bear's gonna run off. You know, so if I have to shoot this in the air, that's all this is for. But as a last resort, I'll wait till you get 2 feet from me and let you have it right in the face if I had to. But I'm not carrying any slugs or anything, just some number 4 bird shot. The old thunder stick. The story about this gun, it's got a very small barrel on it. My dad blew that barrel out years ago. Look how short that is. So my dad actually was hunting just partridge in the winter one time, and he actually got snow in the end of that and blew the end of it out. And back in the day, we had just enough to save the gun where the gunsmith could saw it down, file it down, and keep it legal. So now I think the laws have changed. You can have even a shorter barrel than this, but you can't hit anything with this thing. It's so short now with a full choke. The spread is so wide on this thing. You go to shoot a partridge and you destroy all the meat. So we just kind of keep it for camp protection. So the bad thing about having this guy running around here playing, look what he's doing right there. All over, he's leaving tracks, and he's ahead of me, so I can't see. He's tearing up the ground all over, ripping and racing and running and playing. So in a way, it's kind of bad to have him with me because I can't look for tracks and stuff. But I do like having him here. Now that's not Gage. That's a big old moose track right there. Come on out of there. So a moose has climbed up here since we were here. Last time I was here, I had 2 cable locks for the trail cameras. And the one that I put up high in the tree, I didn't put a cable lock on it. I couldn't reach it. And when I got back to the camp, I realized I had either set it down or dropped it somewhere. It fell out of the pack. So I'm hoping to find that. I'm hoping it's beside the tree that we put the trail camera in. If not, I'm keeping an eye open, see if I can find it here on the way up. Probably not, it's black, so if it's not by the tree I probably won't find it, but fingers crossed. Come on, Gage. Okay, so there's one trail camera over there. There's the other one right here. Hey, well, we got 6 captures from the one up here on this, way up on this birch tree. So I just undid the lock here from this tree, and right there, lying down, must have fell out of my pack. Here's the other lock. Perfect. Saves me 20 bucks. So both cameras still have power. We're still recording and working. 7 of 13 captures, and I don't know. I saw the dog, I saw myself. There's a night shot. From what I could see on both cameras, it looks like mostly shots of me and the dog setting up and leaving, but we'll check it all at home on the computer. And I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get a moose going across or something. So it's really windy out, guys. I won't be able to do any droning tonight. I'm gonna be seasick, it's so rough. I am doing a bit of fishing. Tonight might be a night to sit around the camp and tell some stories. I think the old guy's got a story or two he wants to tell. If I catch any fish, I got one little pickerel in the boat here. We'll show you those as well. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have made fun of his fish. It's almost as big as the lure. Why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about your bush experience?
My bush experience? Oh God, that goes back many, many years, I'll tell you. Oh, bush experience. Well, I got lots of that. Never moved out of the bush. Well, I did for a while, but always came back.
I know that, but they don't know that.
Oh God. My mother used to take me on the trap line when I was in my diapers. I remember her and I, as I got older, a few years older, we fell through the ice one time. Went trapping with my dad, and she came along by a beaver dam and just went step down and whoa, right through the ice. I remember her fighting and hollering at my father, and he come and grabbed us and pulled us out, but there's how easy you could fall in and get lost and killed or whatever. Oh my God. It could happen pretty fast and pretty easy. Bush experience, my God. Been hunting ever since I was pretty young. Before that, I was trapping. I was about 8 years old. I used to run a trap line up where I live now. Had snared rabbits and had mink sets, muskrat sets, all little stuff. I'd go up there and I'd make myself a little bit of money doing trapping because my dad had a big trap line. I can remember one time in particular, I went up the road and I come running back down. Boy, I was pretty scared. Whoa, come on, you got to come with me. There's something big in my trap. So, oh yeah, he said, well, sure enough, we hopped in the truck. We didn't walk back up. We come up and he looked at that and he jumped back. There was a lynx. The lynx was caught just with its little toes, just in the front traps. It wouldn't even pull its toes out to get away. That was the first lynx I ever caught. I was about 8 years old. I said, holy God. Yeah, seen lots of that. Lots of trapping with my dad over the years after that. He had a large trap line that used to be my uncle's, his father-in-law. That was Phil Bastine. That was back, oh my God, he got that. He told me he was just a kid when he got that, 14, 15 years old. And he trapped that, and he trapped beaver, but mainly he trapped through the fall, just in the fall. He maybe trapped whatever his quota was, 100 beaver. I'd go with him. Mink, fox. I don't ever remember catching a wolf or anything because wolves were hard to catch, but he was a beaver trapper because you had to have your quota to get your beaver. But lots of fisher, marten, stuff like that. Then we'd come back and we'd skin them out in the garage. And I guess it was in the late fall and the winter because I remember the wood stove going and he would skin beaver out there. And I'd do muskrats. I started muskrats. You'd hang them up and come around the tail and come down like that. And they were pretty easy to do. And as a kid, well, boy, oh boy, you made pretty good money. There was $8, $10, $12 on a muskrat. So that was all right. And it was a good life being in the bush. Nobody bothered you. And life was good. It was all okay over those years.
All right, well, since we're talking about Grandpa, did he have any stories or did he ever have anything that he saw or heard in the bush that he couldn't explain? That he ever mentioned or...
He never did mention that. No, never said nothing. He spent a lifetime in the bush. Actually, because he worked in the bush, he was lucky enough he got grade 8. And that lots of people didn't have grade 8 in those days. And after grade 8 it was like going to college for us. I mean, he went to work in the bush. And he was smart because he'd always reading books, and he was trapping squirrels on the old farm. He'd get $1 a hide for a squirrel. That's pretty gosh darn good. And he told me he would save all his money, and he bought an old 2-man chainsaw when he was finished grade 8, and he was 13 years old, and he went to work in the bush. I remember poor old Howard Buckley told me, he said, your dad was 13 years old, he came to work in the bush. He couldn't carry that chainsaw up the hill. He said he couldn't carry the gas, he couldn't carry the oil. I put that over my shoulder, and almost him too when he was a kid starting out. But he said a month later he was carrying her all up. It made a man out of him, he said. But he never said that he ever saw anything, or never a track that he didn't know what it was, or never, nothing he couldn't explain.
Okay. Well, what about yourself then? Because since you were 8 and had your trap line, I'm sure, I know, because I've been in the bush with you since before I was 8, that you've spent a lifetime since then in the bush.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen or heard anything that you couldn't explain?
No. Not that was on the ground. I've seen some strange things traveling when I was a kid coming back from the bush, mainly because you were walking. You were a kid, and you looked into the sky. There was always falling stars, and there was lots of other things moving around too, and I can remember that. And we never seen much after that, because once you started to drive, you weren't looking up in the sky as much. But when you were a kid walking,
I know he's got a story. He's dying to tell it. And it involves a flying barbecue, so why don't you go ahead? I've heard this story since I was a kid, and he's adamant that this happened, so go ahead, let's hear the flying barbecue story.
We were back in, I remember I was just a kid, about 15, 16 years old. I was with my buddy Pete Langell, and we were with my dad, and we'd come back out of Songus Road. And we were back in there fishing suckers, up on the river, and we come back out, and it wasn't too late at night. It was pretty, actually, it was just dusky coming back. And we come out of the Songus Road, and we're all looking up there, like, what in the hell is that? And it wasn't moving fast, and it was no great spaceship, and I don't think that anybody had a drone in those days. I often wondered, what did the Air Force have? But who knows?
What year would we be talking about?
Well, I said it was a 1966 Volkswagen. He bought that brand new, 62? Yeah, 66, 67, 68, in there someplace. And all of a sudden we looked, and over top of Songus Road, it looked like a flying barbecue. You could see the 3 legs, and there was a green light underneath it. And it was about the size of an old charcoal barbecue. And we're looking like, what the heck? And it wasn't high. Maybe 75 feet over the road, and it come across the road slow like that, and right down through the bush where it stopped. Well, what the heck? Never saw anything like that since. And what can you say? It's a flying barbecue.
Did it make any noise when it went over?
No, not a bit of noise.
No smoke, like it
No,
did. So
it was just as clear and coming down through there. It was just not a whirl, not a whistle. You could see the 3 legs, just that would remind you of a barbecue. Like
so the steaks weren't ready, is what you're saying.
The steaks weren't cooked, and we hadn't even had a beer. No, not in those things. But I'll never. You see that. You don't forget that. I mean, I've seen a lot of lights in the sky. I've seen a lot of lights off in the bush. And people used to say, well, that's just swamp gas or something like that. It looked almost like a flashlight here, there along the road. We used to see them 4 or 5 feet up. 4 or 5 feet up just along the road.
What color were the lights?
Well, just like a flashlight, but not as bright. So maybe as big around as your fist. You'd see them kind of moving here or there some places. I haven't looked for them in years. I don't know.
Well, that's my question that I'm thinking right here off the top of my head. If this is a common swamp gas thing, why do people not see and report this in our area now? Because I don't know anyone who's seen that. I don't hear people talk about weird lights, other than you've heard the story about Grant and I seeing the orange orbs, which were way up in the air over the lake, a couple hundred feet, but they were bright orange.
These were dull pale, and you'd see them. They were bright enough. It wasn't blinding bright by any means. You used to see it on the way to North Bay. They were along by one fence. Over there was a little bit of swamp area right along the highway. I'd see them. And I'd seen them back off the lake one time too. So somebody was shining a light down out of the bush. We'd seen that a couple times coming. Like, what the heck is that? Still can't explain it. I don't know who it was or what it was. I don't think it was somebody. I think it was just, I don't know. It wasn't like a beam. Once you got looking at it, it was just like light coming down, and strange. But what can you say about strange things in this world? After a while, you don't you don't question too much because there's a lot more to life than what we'll ever understand. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of that one for sure. But you see a lot of things, and as you get older, you just, I don't know. We stopped looking for a long time. When we were kids walking the road and coming back after, in the wintertime, hockey practice off the rink, you'd walk the road back home. Nobody drove. We'd walk down the road wherever we were going. You'd watch the sky a lot. You'd see a lot of movement up there. And I mean, not everything was true, but I mean, hey, there was stuff that, well, what's that one? You know, okay, that's a plane. This one isn't. Like, what the heck is that? And it's just the way life was. We all saw it over the years. Lots of stuff. Lots of people in this world have seen stuff like that. A lot of people don't say much, but we saw it.
So my views on Sasquatch are that if it is an existing thing, that it's just an animal. It's not driving UFOs. It's not a plane jumping, dimensional warping, alien predator, you know, none of that. What are your views on that, if there is such a thing? Well, first of all, do you think there could be such a thing as Sasquatch?
I think it's a hairy Scotchman.
Yeah. No.
Well, of course. I don't even deny that. I mean, if 100,000 people, there's all kinds of reports in this world report on seeing something different. Well, say if you take 50,000 or 75,000 of them and you discredited them, it would still leave you 25,000 people that saw something. And we're forever seeing something. I could walk outside of this camp right now and make a 100-yard probably trek around this camp and come up with something that out there that nobody's even seen before, if you looked hard enough. I've seen different things, and I'm sure there's well, every day they're discovering something new. Why we haven't come up with something that they've seen? Well, I mean, to prove it exactly, who knows?
All right, guys. Well, that's it for this edition. We're going to spend the night. The dog's going crazy out there, so I don't think we're going to see anything or hear anything around the camp tonight. But if we do, you'll see a follow-up on this video. And if not, guys, enjoy the great drone footage. We'll catch you in the next video. Okay, so change of plans. The wind has died down a fair amount. It's a little bit windy, but I'm going to drone. And I want to go over and drone that rock face over there. That's probably 1,000 meters. And we'll take a look up towards Lake Temiskaming. And then maybe we'll do a bit down here too and just, you know, check the shoreline and whatever.